that Meghan doesn't follow any rules. She doesn't give a damn about the rules. She will do anything to get ahead, and there's quite an evil manner in her behavior. Now, again, I'm not suggesting the fact that she was fraudulent in terms of getting the SAG card is particularly significant, but when you think about all the other things that she has been fraudulent about.
How does a couple who claimed they were cut off from royal wealth end up living like billionaires in just a few years? That's the question buzzing around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, whose California lifestyle, complete with a sprawling mansion, private jets, and top-tier security, has everyone talking. From Netflix deals to charity controversies, their financial rise is as dazzling as it is mysterious. But whispers of investigations, murky money trails, and unanswered questions are starting to cast a shadow. Let's dive into the story of how the Duke and Duchess of Sussex went from royal outcasts to global power players, and why some say their empire might be built on shaky ground. Back in 2020, Harry and Meghan shocked the world by stepping away from royal duties. They said they wanted freedom, privacy, and a chance to stand on their own 2 feet. Harry was blunt. No more royal allowances, no Duchy of Cornwall funds, and no taxpayer support from the Crown. Meghan, a former actress, talked about dusting off her old Hollywood contacts to start fresh. It was a bold move, painting them as a couple ready to hustle their way to independence. They leaned on Harry's inheritance from his late mother, Princess Diana, and moved to California with their young son, Archie, to build a new life. At the time, it sounded like they were starting from scratch, ready to face the grind. But what happened next wasn't just a comeback, it was a financial explosion. And that's where things start to get interesting. Within months, the Sussexes were signing jaw-dropping deals. Netflix handed them a reported $100 million for a multi-year contract to produce documentaries and series. Spotify inked a $20 million podcast deal, though it later fizzled out with some harsh words from execs. Harry's memoir, Spare, became a bestseller, raking in millions with its raw take on royal life. Meghan launched American Riviera Orchard, later rebranded as Ever, selling everything from jams to cookie mixes. Their Archewell Foundation, meant to be a beacon of compassion, started attracting donors. On paper, it looked like a masterclass in branding: take a royal title, mix in Hollywood flair, and cash in on personal stories. But even with these deals, some analysts say the math doesn't add up. How do you go from cut off to private jets and a $14.6 million Montecito mansion in record time? That's the question that's got people curious, and it's not just the public asking anymore. The Archewell Foundation, their flagship charity, has been at the center of some eyebrow-raising drama. Reports surfaced that 2 organizations, Fidelity Charitable and Tis Best Philanthropy, claimed they donated over $6 million to Archewell in 2022-23. But Archewell's tax filings only showed 2 $1 million grants from anonymous donors. Where's the rest of the money? Insiders say it's just a timing issue, and the funds will show up in the next tax return, due November 2024. But the discrepancy sparked headlines, and it didn't help that California's Department of Justice briefly slapped Archewell with a delinquent label in May 2024 over a late registration fee. The issue was quickly resolved, with Archewell blaming a lost check. But the damage was done. Critics pounced, calling it a sign of sloppy management or worse. And that's not all. Some are whispering about deeper questions, like whether the foundation's structure, with only Harry and Meghan as board members, meets non-profit best practices. It's the kind of controversy that makes you wonder, is this just a hiccup or a hint of something bigger? Now, let's talk about the lifestyle. Harry and Meghan's Montecito home is a 16-bedroom estate with ocean views, a wine cellar, and a pool. They travel by private jet, with costs that can hit tens of thousands per trip. Security is another big expense. Harry's been vocal about needing top-notch protection, especially after losing his taxpayer-funded UK security in 2020. He's even fighting the UK government in court over it, racking up legal bills that reportedly cost taxpayers $890,000. Add in Meghan's designer wardrobe and their high-profile appearances, and you've got a lifestyle that screams wealth. But here's the disconnect. They've spent years talking about their struggles, racism, mental health challenges, being cut off by the royals. So how does that square with the private jets and luxury purchases? It's a contrast that's got fans and critics alike scratching their heads, wondering how they're bankrolling it all. And that's where the rumors start to swirl. Here's where things get murky. There's been talk, unconfirmed but persistent, that UK and US authorities are taking a closer look at the Sussex's finances. Some say the UK is reviewing their brand deals for possible tax irregularities, while others claim US agencies are sniffing around for signs of shell companies or unusual cash flow patterns. Posts on X have fueled the fire, with users speculating about hidden accounts or offshore funds. One post even suggested US taxpayer money might be funneled through shell companies, though there's no hard evidence to back it up. These are rumors, not facts, but they're gaining traction because of the couple's high profile. After all, they're not just celebrities, they're former royals, carrying a symbolic tie to the British monarchy. That makes their every move a lightning rod for scrutiny. If there's even a hint of financial missteps, it could trigger audits, court documents, or whistleblower tips. And when regulators start digging, they don't stop until they get answers. The Sussexes aren't slowing down, though. They're hustling harder than ever, churning out content to keep the cash flowing. Meghan's Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, and her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, are part of her growing empire. Harry's focused on the Invictus Games, but is reportedly cooking up new commercial ventures. They've hired top-tier staff, like a former Bill Gates aide, for Meghan and a communications strategist to rival the royal households. Every move feels calculated to stay relevant. Photo ops, magazine covers, exclusive interviews. But some say it's a sign of desperation, driven by mounting expenses and the pressure to prove they were right to leave the monarchy. Critics point to their Spotify deal's collapse, where an exec called them fecking grifters, and the lukewarm reception to Meghan's lifestyle brand. It's a high-stakes game. They're selling their story, betrayal, redemption, royal secrets, over and over again. But when your income relies on constant media exposure, one misstep can cost you everything. The public's reaction hasn't been kind. Many see hypocrisy in their narrative, crying privacy while chasing publicity, claiming hardship while living like billionaires. Their royal ties, though severed officially, still define them. Harry's a prince, fifth in line to the throne, and their kids are Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. That connection brings responsibility, and when you're linked to an institution like the monarchy, any hint of scandal stings harder. Posts on X call them erratic and untrustworthy, with some even demanding Archewell be investigated for fraud. Others defend them, pointing to their mental health advocacy and charity work, like Governor Newsom praising Archewell's impact on women and girls. But the optics are tough. When you build an empire on personal pain, family rifts, racism allegations, mental health struggles, it invites judgment. And when the money behind that empire raises questions, it invites investigators. So, where does this leave Harry and Meghan? They're at a crossroads. Their brand is built on compassion, resilience, and breaking free from tradition. But the whispers of financial scrutiny could unravel it all. If regulators find anything amiss, unpaid taxes, hidden accounts, or non-compliant charities, the fallout could be massive. Court documents or audit results could turn rumors into reality, staining the image they've worked so hard to polish. For now, they're pushing forward, smiling for the cameras, and rolling out new projects. But behind the scenes, the pressure's mounting. Are they building a lasting legacy, or racing against a ticking clock? One thing's for sure, the world's watching, and not just for their next Netflix special. If the truth behind their wealth comes to light, it could be the biggest story yet. Stay tuned. This saga's far from over.